What's up, everybody? I'm gonna dive right into this one. I thought about this one a lot, and at first I was like, boy, I haven't opened some packs in a while. Can't open packs anymore without filming it, because you never know. If you open that awesome box and you didn't film it, you don't have that crazy story to tell later. And that leads me to some Baldur's Gate. Stores are really starting to liquidate this. Scored a slamming deal on some more boxes, so I had a few sitting around, and I was like, you know what? Here's something I could open. Haven't opened this in a long time. Haven't thought about it much other than some interesting rises on prices. We're starting to see the White Plume Adventurer and the other initiative taking White Creature start to show up in decks and other formats. And anyways, we're going to go as fast as we can with this one because we're going to open 3 set boxes. You saw the cellophane's off. We're going for it. But as I sat here thinking about it, I figured, A, I don't want this video to go too long. B, this set, I don't have a ton to say about the individual cards. So much as, well, do this. We're going to do a couple things here. So, we got our first box out. We're going to rip right into it. But what I thought was the most interesting about this set, and kind of want to discuss while we open our packs, is a couple things. One, the prices on this have changed a lot. Right now, somewhere between $85 to $75 taxes and shipping, you can get yourself a set booster box of Baldur's Gate. What's interesting though is, like I mentioned, some of the singles are starting to rise. Other singles have done a decent job of holding on to their price. We're going to go fast on these guys. Feel free to pause if you want to get a better look, but we're just kind of going through here. The most interesting thing is that it doesn't seem too hard in current market conditions to buy a box at those prices and beat your price. So we're going to take a look at that. I mean, reflecting pool, we'll look at that a little bit later, but I mean, there's a reflecting pool right off the bat. So we got 30 packs. Let's see if we can break that $70, $80 mark. This guy's interesting. Put that there. Anything I think is worth anything, we'll just throw right there for now. So forgive me if my prices are poor, but I'm going to try to just go off the top of my head. But what I think is the most interesting thing about opening this now is, I sat here looking at these boxes and said to myself, oh yeah, it's a set booster. And they have that little spiel on the back about what is a set booster? What is it? And, reading that and everything that they kind of describe what a set booster is made me really think about booster fun, especially since, the year Magic's had. This has been a really interesting year. And I think, we've seen some doom and gloom recently, but all in all, things seem to be okay. Ooh, there we go, a land. So reflecting pool and one of those lands. So again, just keeping an eye out to see if we think we break the $80 mark on singles here as I kind of blather on. But anyways, the year Magic's had overprinted, interesting press responses, Hasbro stock absolutely, taking a beating with the market, and if everything's predicted to have another possible recessionary period and reset, that stock might continue to go down before it starts to find its way back up, even after a strong holiday season. We'll see. Oh, rare etched card. Wizards of Thay don't seem to do much of anything. And a list card. A little Mercadian Masks list card. Waka Waka. Anyhow, the reason I was curious too is because at the point where now, you can get, if you really shop around and get a good deal after tax and ship, $66 set box of Magic cards. And I was saying to myself, at that price, there have been bad sets of Magic. I bought cards when Fallen Empires and Homelands came out. But even then, if I'd have had the opportunity at some point in the past to buy boxes at $66 a box, I would have. Remember their hopes for this guy? Remember when he saw a little action in Commander for the hopes and dreams? Anyhow, the reason I'm rambling about that is just because once Magic boxes get to a certain point where they're so cheap that singles inside, there are $50 alternate art versions in this. There are the list cards. There's a series of lands. There's the there's like a quadfecta of amazing white rares in this set between the Archivist of Ogma, the Geomancer, and the 2 like white adventurers that gain initiative. Like those are all several dollar cards in the rare slot, in addition to a land cycle. So it's not totally terrible. And I guess what I want to come to you guys, look, there we go, Morphic pool. So we're doing pretty good there. This is also this set, you know, it takes me back to earlier in the summer when this came out. What weird collation this set had. You know, sometimes like you were going to get a box with like a great dragon and nothing else, or 4 or 5 of these lands and nothing else. You know, it really had like weird collation. And it was when we were all worried, but you know, this thing was swept under the rug. Double Masters 2022 came out and we all kind of forgot about this quickly. And I think that might have changed the price artificially now that we're looking back on things. Another etched rare, actually. Nautiloid ship. I don't know that that does anything, but let's just pretend it's $1. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting product to open, to see that cheap and to think to myself, well, certainly at these incredibly low prices, you know, look, if you're a discerning consumer, Wizards told us themselves this year, don't buy every product. But if you're someone like me who wants to collect and try to get, you know, some boxes for the future and possibly to sell and hold and enjoy, it's very interesting to be able to acquire boxes at this cheap of cards that are not, you know, terrible. Wow, look at that. We just pulled the same rare out of this pack. So talking about collation, Gorian was in the same pack, so very strange stuff going on here. Very strange. Huh, Clutch of the Undercity. Man, we've seen that so many times in the list slot. So, yeah, I just think really interesting product to open and look at. And, I mean, diamonds aren't bad. People are going to keep playing diamonds of Commander, right? Not that they're worth that much, but, I mean, it's a 50-cent card. She sees play. I see her people dropping her in Lathril. There's an etched card. I was just recently working on a Lathril deck. That's why I know about that. So, you know, and this initiative mechanics become interesting. We got banned, I believe, in Pauper, but I believe in several other formats. Those 2 creatures have really started seeing an increase in price. There's a couple legends from the set. I mean, look at this. Okay, here's 3 of the diamonds. Like, beautiful art on these. Fantastic. I mean, diamonds are still good. 2 for a mana rock that makes colors. We've never been upset by that. So, you know, nothing too crazy so far, but as we go through, maybe that's just the thing about this set. I don't know if this set was meant... Is that something that cannibalizes the cards too? If you make an amazing draft set, they've really put pressure on the value of people buying draft boxes. Like draft boxes, even with a price increase, do not seem to be holding on very well, and it seems to be probably the least bought SKU, I would imagine. Blade of Selves. I mean, this was like a $10 card, probably worth a couple dollars. So, you know, it's very interesting to see that, like, even with cards that will find a home, I mean, you know, should they have called this Commander Legends 2? Probably not. They didn't, too. They called it Commander oh, Hellminster. Nice little mythic for us there. Like, that's a real card right there. So far, not seen any of the other juicy cards I mentioned. Displacer Kitten, Archivist of Ogma, Gnome Geomancer, any of our dragons. Foil rare. So, yeah, just an interesting set with interesting collation. How many cards is in this set? 361. Okay. Well, that's part of the problem right there. This set is way too big to be spread that thin amongst, like, a bunch of weird dollar cards. But again, what's this set like this going to do? I'm trying to think back on traditionally weak sets and what, you know, since the days of, like, true stinkers like Homelands or Chronicles. Baylor, pretty good card. These were a couple bucks. I think the one deck, Sunder. Sick. Wow. Didn't know that was even on the list. That's a spicy meatball there. Man. Sunder. Haven't seen that in a while. Yeah, just interesting. I mean, as you're seeing, it's not like I'm opening here just like terrible. I can see why this can't support the price increase. I'm even wondering if they snuck this out just prior to the price increase because of what they knew going on. And all in all, the price increase doesn't seem to have hurt card values. Good cards are coming out. Man, another land. Miracle. This is a pretty good guy. People always trying to make him work. I think he's like a 50-cent mythic, but oh, he's just a rare. But he's a card people play. Yeah, just interesting to see. I mean, the cards aren't that bad. Cool IP, way too big of a set. Kind of came out and is probably emblematic of what's going on in Magic. I mean, it's a fantastic poster child for this year. It's just almost confusing how, not confusing, but just emblematic of incredibly poorly received. Oh, a little rare etched. A little foil, alternate rare. Can't be mad about that. Nice little Myriad Commander reprint from the list slot. So some interesting things. Furbolg Flutist. So, I mean, yeah, I guess at this point I still don't feel like I'm opening $50 worth of cards even here. But, you know, that's what's weird is like at that point, what happens in a few years when some of these do become Commander staples, or you've got things in here like those Dragons, Baldur's Gate, and Black Market Connections, and those haven't been reprinted for a while. I think what will be very interesting to see is what do D&D reprints look like, because something that's pretty interesting to think about is like, you know, we need to wait for a Moonfolk to be reprinted or an Elf reprinted when it's an appropriate set. But for D&D cards, it's only appropriate for most of these cards to be reprinted in products related to D&D. So like eventually do we see, man, another land, guys. Oh, probably one of the worst rares to ever open. You know, they got bummers in here. Maybe that's it too. Maybe it's just there's some definite stinkers in this set that just turn people off, because boy, they followed one bad flump with another bad flump. But I guess they got to give cards to the like super group huggy person, and nothing is more group hug than a flump. Just swinging through. So interesting to look back at this set. Oh, Noble Heritage. That sees some play. There's an etched version. There's another one. And like I said, see the little play. So we're down to our last pack. I don't know if this first box did it, honestly. But again, I guess the thing I would ask you guys as we try to go, we're going to go even faster on the next two boxes. So I'm sorry for those of you out there who don't like it when I just go way too fast with the cards, but you know, definitely feel free to pause it. Feel free to leave comments. Another sea of clouds. My goodness, folks. Okay, well, so let's say, I mean, I don't know. Let's ballpark those lands at like $3 a piece. Modestly, is that too high, too low? But I mean, 2 Sea of Clouds, a Bountiful Promenade. I mean, those are great. Those are, yeah, what is that, 5? So $15, maybe another $5 for Elminster. That's probably about it. So yeah, about $30 in our rare and mythic slot, unless we count some of this. So as you can see, not too high. This wasn't the best box ever, but I wonder how those lands are doing. It's very interesting. Anyways, we'll kind of stack all of our goodies up with the list. Kind of make a little stack right here. I don't know that there really are commons and uncommons from this set that are fetching any kind of price above, you know, bulk pricing. So just give me a sec. We're going to clear that off and we'll do a final recap on all 3 boxes here in a moment. Excuse me. I love these D&D lands too, by the way. Those are so fantastic. I mean, those are great. Magic should keep mixing with D&D. It was, it's been 2 decent attempts with lackluster results, I would say. AFR wasn't all it was cracked up to be either. So, here we go. Box 2. But yeah, it's interesting to wrap the year, look back, and things weren't perfect, but rarely are things in life ever perfect. What we're trying to do is just have them be as good as we can have them be and enjoy them for what they are. So that's what we're going to keep doing. Yeah, I don't know, something I'm thinking about in the future too, guys, if you enjoy videos like this, if you've watched a few videos on my channel, is I am planning on a way where I could start to try to do box, not a box break for you guys, but if you would be interested in something to where you could basically buy a box, out of Noble Heritage. Basically, if you're interested in some sort of Patreon, oh, there we go, White Plume Adventurer, plan to basically let people, you know, $5 a month, help me make some videos, and then get in a drawing to basically have a box open for you and a box open for someone else, you know, after about 3 or 4 months donating. And then at the end of that, whoever's box was more valuable wins both, and the other guy who didn't win gets to go back in the pool. I don't know, just thinking of something like that, something fun to do in the new year as we get more viewers on the channel. But yeah, let me know, because even something like this, I feel like, gosh, if I had the opportunity to donate $5 and I was liking some content, it might be kind of cool if randomly one month I get to see my name on a video, and then suddenly I win 2 boxes of cards for my content donation. So I'm trying to work out the numbers, guys, and just also make sure I have time and don't half-ass it. Treacherous Werewolf. He looks quite treacherous. Man, we're all over the place with these cards too. But yeah, I guess back to this set, you know, I don't know, it's hard for me to say exactly what the issue is of like why this set was received with such a lukewarm reception, you know? And the cards certainly don't thrill me. I think comparing them to, gosh, just about every set last year, this is probably the least exciting set to open, which is strange, you know? It's a Commander Legends product. They really should have re-estimated that. And maybe even, you know what? I think if they look back next year and say to themselves, this was the set they just shouldn't have released, like that would have been not a bad call to just hold back on one. There we go, Displacer Kitten. Popular Entertainer. So this might be the box where we get a dragon, guys. I'm going to just say at this point in the video, just based on what I remember about the collation of opening this product, we're about at the point where I think we might see ourselves open a dragon in this box. Call it a hunch, but Displacer Kitten, White Plume Adventurer. I think we're going to see some more of the cards we've actually been looking for here. So yeah, just an interesting year for Magic, but I'll say this, I definitely haven't given up hope. Even with the rocky last couple of months, if anything, it's told me this game can get shook pretty hard and stay around. I think we're going to see the community acting more responsibly about what their expectations are, and in turn that'll send the information to Wizards and Hasbro, and ultimately the feedback loop on how print runs will be best deployed for the interest of the players will probably become full circle, probably going into 2024. And that's, to me, what makes, you know, we've seen people have to get out of the game. We've seen people give up on the game. We've seen people decide to just move strictly to Arena and start liquidating product that I've been watching all the last couple of years for good times to buy. And I mean, it's starting to really happen. People are finally just saying, I'm over it. But it's not the mass exodus, doom and gloom, you know, Chicken Little sky is falling situation one would expect. Okay, that throws us off a little bit. Luxury Suite. Let's see what happens. Ooh, nice little Chandra. OG Chandra, huh? M11. Cool. That's a pretty cool list hit. Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what comes of sets that were released during this doom and gloom period. You know, because I look back, like, Ikoria was great, Kamigawa was great, Kaldheim was great. Capenna has cool cards. I'm surprised. You know, I think if Capenna was followed by Kamigawa and then this set was skipped, I think you could almost make that tiny change in the stitch of history and literally change a lot of people's impression of where the game is going. Oh, my favorite card, the Glumph. Glunch the Glumph. What a bad card. That's okay. Bad cards, you know, Mark Rosewater's told us all. Bad cards exist so we can appreciate the good ones, you know. without ugly in the world, there'd be no beauty. So, Glunch, thank you for your sacrifice. Yeah, I don't know. Just musing here on a cold winter's evening. Relax, unwind a little bit. Did a bunch of cleaning in the Magic room today. Just thought a lot about cards in this year, and honestly, I'm like, Magic is awesome. Magic's as great as it's ever been. So, to anybody out there who's just like, you want to ride through this even here, I'm seeing Nira on all kinds of lists, guys. The abilities on this card, this is such a fun card. This is such a great commander. Like, she's beat, girls got a back for sure. Adorable art and an awesome unique effect. Basically warp world every spell you cast. I mean, there's fun ways to abuse this 1000%. In red and blue, you can get all kinds of copies and weird triggers going on. Like, that's a great card. And there she is, just waiting. Earthquake Dragon. Pretty bad, but Timmy's got to love something that costs 15. And it gets smaller when you have other dragons. Boy, if your little brother building their first dragon deck for this Christmas, buy that for him. Brother, sister, pet, uncle. That's a great card for a Timmy who wants to get ignited by synergy in the game, and you're like, check this out. Here's a big dragon that gets cheaper when you play dragons early and teach them about the mana curve. Earthquake Dragon. Seems darn near unplayable in limited though. But also, actually, I mean, looking at second ability, it's not bad. Also, they have this awesome lightning bolt, guys. Like, that's a card. That's a card. Pinhead Prism, Wayfarer's Bauble. Those are decent mana rocks. They see use every now and again. They come around. Oh, but again, look at this terrible correlation. Two of the same junk rare right next to each other. Womp womp. Beautiful, beautiful. Foil Sky Diamond, though. Can't be upset with that. So, yeah, again, looking back at a set that you're like, man, it's so terrible, and it's like, it's miles from any, you know. It's funny when I go back and look at old sets, and I think about, like, what opening them with a modern eye would be. And aside from, like, funky rares that break the game, you know, a lot of it wouldn't feel that good. And you look at a set like this where, like, commons, you know, complexity creep basically also pushes the power level. Yeah, I mean, both these guys see some fringe play lately. Like, I've seen those on lists, you know? I've seen them around. They're not maybe the most popular cat, but we've seen them around. It's not like this set is just vapor. It's not, you know, it's not one of these older sets. And you look at the way Commanders changed the game. I mean, sets that were thought of as, like, notoriously sluggish with only a few good rares have sprung back to life. I mean, Mercadian Masks now is, like, full of hidden treasures that were just overlooked for years. And I'm not trying to be dramatic and be like, this is the next Mercadian Masks. But I will say, I mean, with oh, there we go. Ancient Dragon. I think your boy called a dragon earlier. I think I did. Even Lizelle, she sees play in decks. I've seen it. You know what we haven't opened, though, we're kind of chasing here now that we're getting the itch again, is the gosh darn Black Market Connections. Would love to see that in person. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just weird to think about a set being that cheap. Like, cheap. I mean, heck, guys, I'll tell you what. Back in the day, back in the Big Cat's day, when he was just a little cub, Minskin Boo. I think those are doing things lately. Like, this card is awesome in Joda. I love, you cast this, you get the free trigger, and then you also get another ETB off of Minskin Boo, and you get a legend on the battlefield that can just do work. Like, this card's fantastic. What else do we got in here? Looks like we got something else hidden in here. Oh, yeah, just a full art Elminster with that. So, I mean, oh, and a Heartless Hidetsugu on our list slot. So, yeah, again, I mean, gosh. I mean, let's just go with the Amazon price. Let's say you get out of there for $80. We'll call it the difference. $80 after tax and shipping. Well, 30 packs, so you're paying about what? Not quite $250 a pack. 60, 75. Yeah, like $250, $260 a pack, which, like, you can't buy a pack of Magic cards these days for that price. You know this. Single packs don't even sell that cheap, but that's basically what you're getting if you buy a box of this. And, you know, we've done pretty good for ourselves so far. We've got quite a few packs to go in this second box. So yeah, that's kind of the thought experiment I wanted to do, is to say, look, if these things are going to hit any lower, they're going to get bought up. And then we're going to see these things get forgotten. Because the one thing that I think is interesting is now that people are starting to liquidate these, I don't think, and I know they kind of force this on the market. Like, I know the fluctuations in sort of the logistic bloodstream and the idea that basically they told us the other day that they have too much product on hand. Wizards is sitting on more, they'd expected to sell more of what they have, which is a bummer because it's print to demand. And that means they didn't print to demand, they overprinted. And hopefully it means they shut the press off. And hopefully they don't just keep liquidating this and like destroy the price because it's just there's just mountains of this sitting there. But with where some of the singles prices are, it doesn't suggest people are opening it to fill out. Legion Loyalty. Like, this card's seeing play, guys. This card's absolutely seeing play. That's a few bucks. Sculpted Sunblast. What's this card? Very interesting. Little fair wrath. It's an interesting card for 5. They should probably push that to 4 since it's strictly worse, but can't make them all that way. But Legion Loyalty, I mean, we'll see. So yeah, just a really interesting product to ponder, because now we're kind of at the point that if we got one of the big hits, if we got the big red or the big black dragon, or another like alt art dragon card, we're starting to get to where we'd probably see some good value on this box we opened here. Better than our first too. I mean, the first felt like it kind of proved the point of like, hey, this is going to go down, unless just in general people are interested in this in the future once it gets significantly more scarce. But I was going to say it's probably going to be like 5 years before this thing is like an $150 box or more. I'm not quite sure. Those long-term curves change very fast. Ooh, beautiful Etch Lazo. There we go. Archivist. He's great. But yeah, it's an interesting thought experiment to be like, when does Baldur's Gate, if you could buy it at $66 a box, 2 years, 2025? Will that be when people are suddenly missing this and some new commander card has busted it wide open? Awesome art on that. Guarding Naga. Glunch, there he is. Glunch. What'd you have for Glunch? Just a sandwich. Duker. Beautiful foil displacer kitten. So yeah, again, we're hitting this box and saying to ourselves, things aren't looking too bad right now. Things are not looking too bad. But it's going to be a long one, kiddo, so thanks for hanging in there with me. But we're going to go through 3 boxes and quite a bit of our thoughts on the overall economic trends. A lot of it's rambling. I may have talked myself in circles, but I'll just say, if you're trying to sit your way through some tough times, man, triple uncommon dragons right now, and you're like, I believe in the game, I know we're in a rough spot, just go find some positive content, guys. Just go find some positive content. I've seen some really cool things done with this card on MTG Goldfish. Shout out to them on a video they did about that deck. But just go find some positive content, guys. Magic's going to stick around. Magic will stay fun. If we don't all dogpile and get negative and give up and wait a few months, you'll start seeing sets you're interested in. The spoilers for Phyrexia, it looks amazing. I'm ready to make some new decks with that already, and I think we just got to stay in there. So just ingest positive content while you can. Just weather it through with people still enjoying stuff. Find the value, carry the torch, and then you know what? In a year or two, when things swing around, a few more good sets, some of our reaction to pricing kind of works its way through the product's bloodstream. Oh, Jugan. So, pretty good lit. The list was very kind to us here tonight in this second box of ours. So, just a quick recap on that one. I mean, Foil Displacer Kitten, Archivist, Legion Loyalty, Full Art Elminster, Minsk and Boo, Lazael, we got an etched one down there. Did pull a dragon, the green one, so whiffed, but a dragon, a land. There's our second Displacer, Noble Heritage, and the White Plume Adventurer, who's risen to a few dollars now a pop, when that was like a $1 card forever. And it's a set product, so yeah, not upset with those. I mean, commander card, just old school classic. Do people play this at all? Probably not, but funny. Anyways, all right, now Again, these great lands. Like, if you took the value of what you would want from some of this, $66 is crazy. Like, if I offered you it today, I don't know. I'm going to guess right now in this video, like a sealed box of Homelands goes for like, I don't know. Let's pretend it's $120 because I don't know. Right? Let's just pretend a sealed box of Homeland is $120. And I could offer you 2 boxes of this or a box of Homelands. Which one are you taking? Maybe long term that Homelands might have that ceiling, but again, at $66 a box, if you're just going to hold them, how many years do you think it takes this set to get back to 100? 2? 3? Especially after the year we've had? 2 or 3? It's interesting to me. You know what I mean? That's one of those things that just makes me really think, like, with the market overreacting, is now just a superb time to get in on opportunity. And are we also just to the point where we're extremely reactionary, but Magic will still hold value, and if we act responsibly in the next few quarters of purchasing, everything's going to work out just fine, if not better. And it's a great time to buy cards, and it's a great time to love Magic. So, with that positivity, let's go into aspirations. You know, this is kind of an appropriate Christmas video. Christmas Magic past, Magic present. Let's talk Magic future. Good stuff's on the horizon, guys. Good stuff is on the horizon. Like art cards. We still don't know. Like, that's what's crazy is like the art card market. 10 years from now, does that become like... You remember when tokens just didn't have value? In those first few years of tokens, if you're playing during like M10. I don't know if you just remember like... Because the only tokens we had seen before... Oh, Font of Magic. A little mythic to start us out. The only token cards we had seen before were unglued. And I remember those were like flopped around like nothing. Until suddenly it's like, this is the only place to get a sheep token. Now with the token market, I always wonder about proxies because it is a token, and do you want to pay $7 for this rare token, or do you just buy some proxies and get some flashy tokens? Why not? I don't think most tables mind proxy tokens, but man, people thought that was going to be a card. Definitely was not, but people thought about it. I think this font is actually worth $1 or $2. Raised by Giants, wild, foil rare. Vampiric Tutor. Well, pretty good for the experiment. Okay, so I guess we went bad, median, great. Because yeah, we just opened a Vampiric Tutor. We're gonna sleeve that up right now. Man, that's why you film this stuff. Look at us. So I guess I hope there's a lot of videos about this product out there on the internet from the hot days of summer and before we really knew what a tumultuous second half of the year was going to have. This is coming out right when it's like, we were like, are we going to have a recession, basically? And everyone's kind of like, I guess technically, yeah. How long is it going to last? And I think even at that point, we were all like, Q1, Q2 of next year, which seems to be right. It hasn't hit us that bad. We're still getting adjusted, We're still getting adjusted. They're doing what they can with that rate over there at the Fed. But, otherwise, everything's okay. Food got expensive. Gas got expensive. Gas is getting fixed. Food, that's a whole other... I can't really speak to that. But, otherwise, it hasn't been doom and gloom. And that's what I'm just wondering. Did we overreact? And, it leads me to something. When Magic collectively has an opinion, meaning the internet people expressing their feelings on Magic starts to shift into one direction. Can we really put too much stock into that? Because even this card, this card has some limited commander potential. I bet we see that card again in the future in some deck lists, guys. How seriously can we take it? Because everything's bad. Everything's been terrible, but it's been with the market. But meanwhile, I'm like, sets are great. I love Dominaria. I love Brothers War. And what do we got next? We're getting this Phyrexia set that looks insane. Like, it looks like it's just gonna... All that stuff everybody's wanted from new Phyrexia that's just driven those cards through the roof is in it. And it's like... it looks like the closest thing to just saying... You want more new Phyrexia, guys? We heard you like new Phyrexia. Boy, man, 4 rares in that pack? That was out of control. Foil, gosh, we just went through a grip of rares right there. And then a Mist Meadow Witch, which is, I'm never unhappy to see that on my list slot. Like, there's a card that is used specifically in particular commander decks. Great to have that for a buck or two. You're going to want that card. That card will fluctuate over time. The better and more busted decks that happen. But it's just so interesting to see because, like, we do that in the secondary market. When our opinion shifts to, hey, there's a hot new commander, hey, this deck is popular, that's what makes a dollar card $5 out of nowhere. But at the same time, when we all got negative and worried about everything, did we project a significant amount of worry that was really about the worry of the world and the bigger picture onto this game? And it's reflective of our emotions without being, I guess what I would say, the forecast of the ultimate thing. Because believe me, I had the thoughts to myself, oh, have I been investing in Magic at its downfall and I'm just going to get left holding as it like falls apart? And every time I've just told myself, not really. I just don't think that's the case because we're going to get through this. People still like Magic. Magic's still making good cards. Magic is still selling a lot of cards. Maybe not as much as they wanted. I mean, they definitely over-predicted what the market could bear, but okay. In one case, I'm like, did they just underestimate how many people were like, I'm making easy money at home during COVID flipping collectibles? Which is possible, but I don't think they're ignorant. I think there are smart people at Wizards. I think there are smart people cooking the math. Basilisk Collar, great card. Cooking the math behind this to know, to say, look, obviously that's what's happening. They couldn't have assumed that it would just go more. Now, I've worked with executives. The anticipation is that sales leads to more sales, and so you just keep putting your revenue into more and more and more. So they got corrected hard. I think what we're going to realize is, like, Magic's done dumb things in the past. I mean, it wasn't a long time ago where they were like, every set had 2 cards banned in Standard after 30 days. Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember that? Like, the cat and Saheeli, and then the next set, and the next set, and the next set, and everything. Ooh, Sorin's Vengeance. Sick. The next set, and the next set, all just kept having cards banned in Standard. But it didn't kill the game, and Kaladesh and Aether Revolt are like stars of their era for where those are sitting. Ixalan was seen as a bad deal. Ixalan's awesome, and we're going to go back to it. Ixalan's doing great. Ikoria, I was shook. I thought it was whack. Oko was a busted card. Ikoria is an amazing set, and we're going to go back. And so the fact that they're ready to go back to those new IPs really leaves me optimistic about what that might do to those products, and just in general, that the game's not as hard up as we may have all started to feel, and I love that feeling. So to kind of round back to, we're looking forward as we open this last box and the good vibes brought to Vampiric Tutor. So thank you for sharing with us your Santific bounty. Santastic? Anyhow, I just don't think it's as doom and gloom as I once was feeling. I think we're going to be just fine. I mean, even as I'm going through and opening some whiffers here, you know, some big whiskies,